Hello guys, what's up? This is Mortaza and welcome to my channel. Welcome to a coder's journey and this new episode of my C# tutorial series. In the last episode, we talked about different data types. If you haven't watched that video, please make sure you do, because what I am going to talk about in this video is kind of related to the topic of our previous video. In this video, I've decided to talk a little bit about casting, or sometimes it is called, conversion. And, casting or conversion means when you convert a data type to another data type. For example, let me give you an example. I think through an example, I can, get my message across much more effectively. Suppose I have an integer value and I'm going to call it my age, right? I'm going to put 32 here. And then I want to convert this integer value for some reason to a long, for example, data type. Do you remember in the last episode we talked about long, which consumes 8 bytes, and you can store whole numbers which are of course greater than the numbers that an integer can store. So I'm going to have long, my age in long, right? And then I'm going to put my age here. So what is happening here is that this my age is of type integer, right? And I am storing this in a variable of type long. This is allowed. This is 100% fine, because this number, this data type can store long, greater values, larger values compared to this one. So this is sometimes called widening casting or widening type casting. When you put, a value of a smaller data type into a variable of a much bigger data type, it makes sense. But the other way around, for example, suppose my age in long is 32, right? And I'm gonna say integer my age in long. This doesn't make sense and it is not allowed. Why? Because you are converting from a much longer data type into a smaller data type. So chances are this number is way greater than the range that an integer can hold. You know what? So in this case, you have to be explicit, and you have to tell the C# compiler explicitly that you are aware of the risks that you are taking. So in order to do that, I'm going to say, okay, here I've got a variable of type integer and it is called my age, and I want the value stored in this variable converted to integer. And in order to do that, I'm going to use explicit conversion. Using this, I'm going to put my data type, the target data type, into a set of parentheses, and then I'm going to put my variable here. This is called explicit conversion. Explicit conversion means you explicitly tell the C# compiler what you want to happen. But the first example, this is sometimes called implicit conversion, because C# is handling it for you implicitly. You do not need to tell C# explicitly that you want to convert from integer to long, because this is allowed, because long can always store values which are stored in an integer value. Sometimes you can also use the convert class. Now suppose I have a bool of type is programmer. I'm gonna say yes, true. Now I want to have another variable of type a string is programmer in a string, right? This is the name of my variable. And in order to convert this, I can use the convert class. The convert class has some, static methods. We are going to talk about static methods later. And as you can see here in the IntelliSense, you've got all the different methods that you can use to convert for example, data type, a bool data type into a string. For example, I can say, yes, convert this to string, and then as a parameter, it says you can have a bool value. So is programmer, right? And then I can print this out in the console. So what I am doing here is I am declaring a variable of type bool, assigning true to this variable, and then using the convert class, I'm using the toString method of this class, and then I'm converting, this bool value to a string, and then I'm assigning it to this variable of type a string, which is called isProgrammer in a string, and then I'm printing it in my console. Now I can run this, and in the output I get true. Now suppose I do this. I tell my console write line to directly print out the variable isProgrammer, and then I run this, and let's see what happens. Again, my code runs without any problems. It runs like a hitch, as they say, and without a hitch, I'm sorry, and everything works okay. And the reason behind this, the reason why I didn't have to convert this bool into a string first, and then tell this writeLine method to print it, is that this writeLine method has different, as they are called, overloads. As you can see, we've got 18 overloads, and each one of these overloads accept a different data type. For example, it can have a bool value as an input, so it is okay to put in a value of type bool into this writeLine method, and it will work like a charm, as we already did. There are different overloads, and it says 17 overloads. You can have different data types get printed out in the output. That's all I wanted to talk about. We talked about casting, we talked about implicit casting, sometimes it is called widening casting, and explicit casting, which is sometimes called narrowing casting. And also we talked about the convert class and some of its static methods. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have enjoyed watching it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel and activate the notification bell so that you do not miss out on any of my upcoming videos. And if you've got a friend or someone who is learning C#, why not sharing this video with them? Thank you so much. Stay tuned, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.